You are listening to Unscripted Moments, a podcast about propaganda. On this episode, I am celebrating the release of Arrangements Volume 1 by the punk cellist, whose name is Ian Legge. Ian appeared on the podcast on episode 13 as a guest for our Today's Empires, Tomorrow's Ashes episode. Back then, he had recently collaborated with Emily Plamondon as a collaborator on a great cover for Today's Empires, Tomorrow's Ashes. Now, in his recently released 2025 full-length LP, he covered Dear Coach's Corner by Propaganda. To celebrate his fantastic rendition of Dear Coach's Corner, I am bringing you the full cover version and also then revisiting the full interview with Ian from 2020. Go find the Punk Cellist Arrangements Volume 1 everywhere you get music. Enjoy.
That was sickening last week, by the way.
What? What is going on with you here?
No, it's not. What is this stuff on here? We're Hockey Night in Canada, and we're talking about saving the world and all that stuff. Let's talk hockey.
Well, that's the whole idea behind December the 25th.
Let's talk about some good guys.
Okay.
Let's talk about the troops.
Moments, a podcast about propaganda.
Thank you very much for having me.
We're delighted to have you. Can you spend a moment and introduce yourself for the audience? Maybe tell them a little bit about the body of work that you do.
Sure. So I've been known on social media as the Punk Cellist for a little while now.
Heck yeah, man.
It's a fun project that I started just sort of, in my bedroom, just having a lot of fun. And so I'm basically Berklee grad. I saw a lot of my Berklee friends actually using this app called Acapella, and it stacks like videos so you can basically, track with yourself. And so that's what I did for a little while, started just doing any old song, and then started getting into more punk covers. And the rest is history.
What are some of your most famous or most thoroughly viewed songs that you've done?
I would say the most recent ones, probably, which are Burn After Writing by the Menzingers.
Mm-hmm.
And then I did a cover by Propaganda.
Mm-hmm.
We did Today's Empires, Tomorrow's Ashes with, I did that with my friend Emily Plamondon. She's from Quebec. Those two, I think, have really, really taken off recently. And also I did a cover of a Lawrence Arms song called The Revisionist. And that really was one of my favorites. That's one of my favorite songs like ever, I think. Man, they just wrote such an incredible record. And the new one that came out recently is also pretty tight.
Yeah, my LP actually arrived in the mail yesterday, 8 days after the release of the record. Apparently Kings Row got snagged up, but I finally got it. So I'm delighted to dig into that a lot more as well. So, Ian, I'm curious, what came first, the cello or the punk rock?
For me, it was definitely the cello. I started in fourth grade when I was about 10 years old. And at that point, I think I was still listening to the bands such as NSYNC and Backstreet Boys. So
heck yeah, man. Nice. How did that progression go for you? Were you like a natural on the cello? Did you take to it quickly? Did you, dive in and out of any other instruments when you were younger?
Yeah, so I played drums as well, and sort of learned both at the same time, classically for cello, and then just by myself on drums. I would just listen to like Blink-182 and stuff and just learn how to play those songs like on my headphones in my basement, and just it basically kind of came together when I met my good friend Meyer Brown, who was the bass player of my band at the time called Half-Hearted Hero.
Mm-hmm.
And we met because he played stand-up bass and I played cello. And we just ended up talking and realized that we both liked punk rock. So we ended up jamming, and yeah, we ended up having a couple friends who joined up with us. And that's really where the punk rock came into my life, because Meyer showed me so much music that I love so much today, including Propaganda. So we did that, played in that band for 10 years. More than that, really. We did, European tour, Japan tour.
Holy smokes.
Yeah. We played with the Swellers plenty of times.
What
Good
in the
friends
world?
with Jono and Nick. And yeah, it was a good time for sure. We sort of just disbanded. Our singer moved to California. So unfortunately, we aren't really playing anymore. And so that really gave me the opportunity to start doing things more solo. So that's when I started taking this more seriously.
Awesome. Well, I'm going to have to go back and find your other band too, because I was completely unaware of that. So I love finding new music. So I'm going to find out anything that you guys have out. Half-Hearted Hero, you said?
Yeah, that's it. Yeah.
Awesome. Well, I'm going to go and check it out, dude. That's fantastic. So when did you sort of like realize that, playing cello and like playing punk rock music didn't have to be like separate? When did those things come together?
I think it was actually in late middle school, early high school. I was actually going to quit the cello. I was sort of bored with it. I was playing only classical music with it.
Yeah.
I did enjoy it. Playing in chamber groups and stuff like that is something that I really have always enjoyed. It's a bit more individualistic of playing rather than, sitting in an orchestra and just sort of like following the conductor as much. So then I heard of Apocalyptica.
Oh, yes. Awesome.
And 2 cellos too. They came later. But when I realized that you could fully orchestrate a Metallica song for cellos without any drums, without any guitar, anything else, I was like, dude, this is it. I was completely re-inspired and jumped right back in. And so it did take me a while, I think, until I got better with recording and then found that acapella app, which made things really easy just to stack and record audio and video at the same time. Anyways, that brought about, okay, what songs have I not heard arranged yet? And it's like, okay, all my favorite punk songs, so
it's like capturing a lightning in a bottle in that moment. You know what I mean?
Absolutely. I was totally just driven to do any song that I could think of at that point. And, I was releasing almost daily covers when I had more time. Now things are a bit busier. I'm back in school. So, and I want to produce higher quality videos, like full length stuff. So I try and release, a few a month.
Awesome. Did you ever like any bands that were like sort of tangentially attached to the punk scene who had like full-time cello members in their band? Like I'm thinking like Cursive or Murder by Death, bands like that.
So I definitely loved Cursive, sort of as an offshoot because they had toured with Propaganda, and I haven't really delved into their music as much because I listened to more like straight up punk, straight up like hardcore, because that's the scene that I grew up in. And then also like straight up classical stuff too. And that's where I think I'm coming from with my arrangements, is purely a classical idea, right? It's all like no drums, nothing else but strings. And the way that the cello is set up, it works perfectly to translate it to like power chords, especially.
Awesome. Well, okay, so let's dive into this cover here that you and Emily Plumondon did recently for today's Empires, Tomorrow's Ashes. So you're on cello, backing vocals. Emily's on lead vocals. I'm sure that many people listening have seen it. It's gone pretty widespread. I think I've watched it personally like 10 or 15 times at this point. How did that collaboration come about?
So when I started making these covers, thank you, by the way.
You're welcome.
Really glad you like it.
Love it.
It's been, such a fun process. And as I started making more and more covers, more and more people started to, just messaging me and asking, hey, would you consider doing collaborations? And I've never really considered putting vocals over these cello covers, right? But I thought, I've heard Emily's other performances with, acoustic instruments and stuff, and I think that her voice goes really well. So I said, hey, let's give it a shot. And I thought, the end product was amazing. And I think we might be doing some covers in the future again. And,
awesome.
And there will be other covers, like collaborations, coming in the future too, which I'm really excited about. I can't wait to be able to give a little more information in that regard.
So just in case people want to know right off the bat, we can just talk about this right now, but before saving it for the end, you can say where you're posting these. Like, I know you might have a Patreon, an Instagram. Yeah. Like, where are you putting these covers up when you put them up?
Totally. So I post the full length covers to YouTube so everyone can see them there. And then if they want to own the actual audio file, like the high quality one, so that, it sounds great, then you can go to my Patreon account, and at the $3 tier, you can get all of the audio files that I've done, that I've been able to upload to my Google Drive, which is about 10 full length ones right now. So nice. And it's always growing. So
don't you have like audience participation as well on the Patreon? Like people are allowed to like request things if they're a Patreon and things like that?
Yeah, so the next tier, the $5 tier, is exactly that. So you get everything, and you're able to request a few songs a month. And also, if you need help with any kind of sheet music writing, or if you want one of the pieces of sheet music for the covers that I've done, I can chart that out.
Okay, let's dive in more into that right now. Let's talk about the adaptation process that you go through for creating these thorough, in-depth, multi-track, high-quality covers on the cello. I want to know a little bit about your your drafting process, like before you put anything down on a recording, like what is the planning like before demoing? What's the planning like?
It's actually really funny and simple. I'll typically just run the song, playing the power chords, trying to hear just the chords underneath it all. And then I'll sing the vocal melody typically along with it. Pretty poorly, might I add.
You kind of like hum it, like
yeah, especially if I don't know the lyrics like fully. Yeah, I'm just like yeah.
Nice.
And then you just start fleshing it out from there, right?
Mm-hmm.
So during the recording process, I try and actually record it like a rock recording would be recorded.
Mm-hmm.
So you have the guitars tracks panned hard left, right.
Yeah.
And then anything that's like lead based is closer to the middle, and then you have your vocals or your lead your vocal tracks right in the center. So that can span from 8 to 16 tracks in total, just for everything to sound good and to fill out all the parts that I hear, because typically it's all by ear.
Awesome.
So
Can you
it
tell
may
me,
not be perfect.
like what's like the specific the tracks that went into today's Empires Tomorrow's Ashes adaptation? Like how many tracks and what are they? Like if we were looking at your Pro Tools screen,
Yep.
or whatever you're recording on, how many tracks are there and what are those tracks representing?
Okay, so we have like guitar left, guitar right, which is going to be me playing. So the cello is set up in such a great way that each string is tuned to fifths, so that when you're playing like on a guitar or power chord, all I have to do is bar it. So what I do is, you able to bar the chords on, and then you fill in like thirds or ninths or whatever's above that they do. And then I'll have 2 guitar lead tracks that are like, so like right in the beginning of the song, it's
Yeah.
right. So I wanted to make sure I had that come in. So that's actually its own separate little lead track coming in above. So that's anything that the guitars are doing, like in the bridge, when it's customary. So all of that is its own tracks too. So I make sure to add what I can hear. I'm not sure if did they do a book.
I don't think they've done this one yet. I don't think they've done Empires yet.
Yeah. So I would love to get all the details, but I did what I could basically. And then I have like a Chris track, and I have a Todd track for the harmonies. If I'm actually tracking like vocals on cello, if I want to do that. I'm actually doing a cello only version of today's Empires too, just to have it, because I know people just love the cello only. So both of those will be available for download on the Patreon. So
awesome. So how much like demoing does this take? Like how much time do you need to get to the finished version with sometimes 12 to 16 tracks overlapping each other?
I would say hour-wise, it can take me from anywhere from about, from arranging it to recording it to mixing it, probably close to, like 15 hours or so, sometimes 10 to 15 hours.
Yeah.
To really make sure everything sounds great and that I'm happy with the final product. And I actually have been using a mastering tool called Master, which is produced by Jay Moss.
Cool.
He's a great recording engineer that has actually recorded my punk band multiple times, and it's a mastering algorithm that basically just can give you a great idea. I mean, it produces high quality masters, and it's the best part is that it's fast. So I can sort of mix it, test it, and then run that a few times to really get used to that. Because for me, the recording process is still a work in progress.
I tell you what, man, I'm really glad that you mentioned the time spent on doing digital content like this, because for me and Keith to do this show, I sometimes will send 10 or 15 emails in a day. I'm going through managers sometimes to help reach people who I'm going to have on the show. We have to painstakingly put together the episode audio tracks and snip out all like little screw ups and things like that. So to put out one episode, and our episodes are long too, so you put out an hour and a half long episode, probably 20 hours of work went into that just to make a podcast episode that we're not even like trying to like make money from. We're just doing it because we want to.
Right.
But it's like, it's wild how much time and energy and thought goes into making digital content like this. And I think that's something that's often overlooked as well. And I think that's definitely overlooked for people who are making music. People are like, they get an MP3 and they can't see it or hold it or touch it. So it's like expendable, right? But the amount of labor that goes into that is intense.
Absolutely. And I think now that there's Twitch and there's TikTok and there's all these ways to see the process happen, it really makes people appreciate it that much more.
Yeah. I'm glad you said that though, because it's just it's a huge amount of effort, and I love doing it, and I know that you do too. It's just I like it when people know what goes into this, because it helps them appreciate it to a little bit deeper of a level. Can you tell me a little bit more about like the key of today's empires, or any like meticulous or any kind of like musical minutia that you think is interesting that you feel like people should know?
Oh man, I feel like just all of the guitar stuff in that song, everything happening in the background. Because one thing that I always notice when I jump into listening to this song in particular is I get lost in the lyrics immediately, right? They're so forward and they're so powerful that I'm always realizing, oh, I forgot to listen to what the guitars are doing for like 30 seconds of the song. So I say to all the listeners, go in again and just really try and listen to each, even take one ear off so you can listen to one guitar at a time. And they're doing incredible leads in there. And it's just like, it does get lost, but with how they record now, you hear everything. And their guitar work has just been getting better, in my opinion.
Absolutely. Do you know how many like drafts you went through before you had this one right? Like, do you have like a bunch of like versions saved on your computer before you felt like you had nailed it?
Oh yeah, I probably remixed this song like 2 or 3 separate times. Like big EQing, re-EQing everything, just like, oh man, I don't like. So also, yeah, part of it was that I was using a cello that I was renting. Because during the recording of one of the Lawrence Arms tracks, I actually broke my cello of 10 years.
Oh.
And so I had just scrambled for a rental. It was like a $50 a month rental. It was not very much.
Yeah.
But thanks to my Patreon peeps,
Woo!
this puppy right here, this is way nicer. So trying to EQ the cello during the Today's Empires was actually a really big challenge. I had to re-EQ that thing probably like the mixing was one thing, but the re-EQing that I did was probably like 6 or 7 different times.
Is it just because the instrument like wasn't up to this like a level that you were hoping to play through?
Yeah, unfortunately, it was like sawing into a piece of cardboard. So.
Oh man, well, that's really interesting as well about the quality of instruments that come through, and just the wide variation of playability within instruments is insane. Can you say anything about that, like about the like cello like quality and how that varies as well?
Yeah, so I actually teach private music lessons, and I have a lot of beginners. And one of my biggest things is having the parents get them a decent instrument right away, because the playability of those Amazon instruments is just, you're gonna discourage your kid because it's so difficult to play. It sounds terrible. It's just an overall bad time. So,
and you're just not going to have fun as well.
Yeah, seriously. If you play an instrument that feels good, you're going to feel good, right?
Yeah, totally.
So,
It's going to make you feel like you're actually making progress instead of like screeching your way through your instrument. Like whenever I was in elementary school, I was doing the Suzuki method and all the plucking and stuff and just sound like total garbage. I was like, this is horrible. I love it. All right. Well, Ian, how does the Empire's track adaptation that you did rank as far as like the challenging nature of the songs you've adapted? Is this like did this push you a little bit as a player?
Absolutely. I would say challenged me as a listener. It challenged me as a player. And I would say it wasn't a particularly shreddy song. There were there's no guitar solos in this song. There's no like leads or anything like that are particularly like out there. I think this is such a great melodic song. And I think just this particular adaptation with Emily a part of it just is honestly very special. I didn't expect it to turn out the way that it did, so yeah.
Awesome. Well, Ian, remind the listeners one more time where they can find all of your fantastic work, and then they can check it out from there.
Yeah, so check me out on all the social medias at The Punk Cellist, and you can find me on YouTube at the same, and also the Patreon link is patreon.com/thepunkcellist.
Awesome. Well, Ian Legge, thank you so much for coming on Unscripted Moments. It's been a real pleasure having you here to talk about this fantastic cover that you and Emily Plamondon did for, all the listeners out there who love this band as much as we do.
Thank you so much, Greg. It's been a pleasure.
People have gotten being blind, dialing me born in from your old position, buried it deep in you.